communication. Why do we want to do it by telex, sick telex, by fax, also mentioned, or I don't know, I think there was no pigeon or something like that. So
website communication.
Website communication. That's why I think it's absolutely improper to intend to reduce the days instead of increasing the days, or instead of trying to take care of a more efficient and secure communication, and not to go back to pigeons. It's not a bad idea, by the way, the pigeons. This is one point. The other point is, it's very fair and reasonable to present the previous articles and the new articles. And in order not to read word by word, to highlight what is going to be changed. And all of a sudden, I see a clause 14 in the memories where it has not been highlighted. There is a clause 14 that appeared magically, and that means that we need, as shareholders, every time that someone proposes a change, to read carefully word by word and not just trust what is being highlighted. I think I would like to have an apology in this respect. Juan, Jose, whoever, I want a clear apology. It's not possible not to highlight something that you intend to change when you present the two, or the new text. So this is basically my concerns, and of course, in the context, the fund, I don't know what is a fund. I don't understand why we talk about funds. We are a commercial company. What is behind the fund? Again, what is the interest of the company with the fund? So this would be my, but I challenge, I contest this resolution. I will not go, I will not be, I can understand that there could be a positive approval, but even if it's an approval, I have to study it, but I have the impression that I will challenge it. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay. Okay.
I'd like to ask something about the resolution number 5 before you mention the results.
Okay.
Like this, nobody would say that it's because of the result that I speak. This is a resolution that requires, according to the Article 131, the written approval of every significant shareholder before being proposed. So, having proposed this to this assembly is completely irrelevant. And this proposal should be completely voided and is nil, because you never get the pre-written approval from every significant shareholders. As far as I'm concerned, I've never been asked, and I would have to say no. So, what's your point on this? Article 131, can check.
Again, that is something that...
Juan and Jose, I wait for the apologies.
I apologize, Carlos, to you for your late reception of the notice of the information, but it was Juan should know maybe better than myself when all the circulars were sent by mail, but it was with a fair anticipation, Carlos. I don't know what happened with the courier. We can see what happened. Hopefully, maybe there is a tracking number or something. But first of all, it was done, following the right practice. And of course, you also know, Carlos, that you have an open phone to me, and I put you in contact immediately with TSX. But
just sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
The apologies do not concern the days. The days It's just that I find it ridiculous to change something the other way around. The apologies is, what I don't accept is that a proposal to amend something has hidden things. This is what is unacceptable. And the Article 14, at least I read it 3 times, was hidden. And this is, for me, unacceptable.
Sorry to interrupt, Carlos. It was not hidden. The thing is that given that Harness advised the company to register as a private investment fund quite some time ago, we are I think over a year trying to get this registration to happen, given that our competent lawyers in the competent jurisdiction advises that that was the right thing to do. The 2 of the 3 directors approved the resolution, which in case it doesn't affect any of the rights of the shareholders, it doesn't affect the corporate structure as a company, as you said. But given that that change had already been approved by a previous resolution signed by 2 of the 3 directors, okay? And that is why the change was there. That change has never been filed, okay? So the memorandum of articles that you have as the current memorandum of articles of the company are the ones that doesn't have that change. But in line, that change had already been approved based on our expert legal advice from Harness as the company's advisors in VBI. There were certain changes in VBI legislation in previous years. I think it's 2019 that this legislation came to pass. But because of that, that is a change that the company would necessarily have to happen. And again, given that it was already approved by a resolution of shareholders, that change had already been made.
Just to understand, you
the board who decides, and not the shareholders.
The directors can change and amend the memorandum and article. That's what you are saying.
Yeah, you can check the bylaws of the company, which say exactly that. Yes.
Okay.
Cool one. Please read us the 131G, please, for us. Or do you want me to do it?
No, I have it right here, and it's. I think we all have the memorandum of articles of the company, okay. And again, I can show you the. Sorry.
So the company shall not take any action with respect to the following matters. And G, without the prior consent of every significant shareholder. And G mentioned any amendments to the memorandum or the article, etc., etc.
Let me just share with you Article 12 of the company's memorandum of articles that said, subject to clause 131 below, subject to clause 13 below, the company may amend this memorandum or the articles by a resolution of shareholders or by a resolution of directors, save that no amendment may be made by a resolution of directors to restrict the rights or powers of the shareholder to amend this memorandum, to change the percentage of shareholders required to pass a resolution. In circumstances where pursuant to the Act, this memorandum of it cannot be amended by the shareholders, or to this clause 12. So that's what I'm saying. The memorandum of articles themselves allow the directors to make changes that not adversely affect the rights of the shareholders. Okay?
It does Article 12. Right, okay. But the condition that you mentioned lastly is a very important one, providing that it does not affect the right of shareholders. How do you prove that? At least the comment and the information of the Article 14 are nil. So how could we make a decision on that?
Again,
that this modification does not affect the rights.
Again, the private fund topic, I can send you and I think I have shared with you several times, Jerome, the opinion from Harness on why this change needed to be made. And
yes, because we shared a lot of things, Juan.
No, I understand that. I understand that.
You can tell us. No, let me share publicly what you told me. You told me that the company was a fund since March 12.
That according to
PPM, a private placement memorandum. So I'm sure that everybody around the table did not know that they were invested in the fund since March 12.
That is not what I said, and you know that. And what we said, and I have shared with you the opinions from Harness, which are again the relevant, competent lawyers in this regard, that given the changes in VVI legislation, it is deemed to have been that this fund was in fact from that date. I can share with you after this call, obviously, all the documents we have from Harness that relate to this subject of the private investment fund registration, okay, based on the new regulations by BVI.
Juan, sorry, but I would really need to have more information on that. As a listed company, it's very different for us to be a shareholder in a commercial company or in a private equity fund. So we absolutely need to have more clarity on that. And if it is a private equity fund, it's not the same way for us to treat the investment. So definitely, I will need to have a clear view and with a legal opinion on that.
As I said, this change not only in the bylaws, but the registration as a private investment fund has not happened yet. It's a matter of waiting to have certain designations, etc. But I can share with you the exact opinion and all requirements from Harness as well as these colleagues.
But is AEG a private company, I mean a commercial company, or a private equity fund today?
As of today, it's a company limited by shares, and it would remain to be a company limited by shares. I can send you again everything that Harness has sent to us, because again, I'm not the expert on the matter. It's Harness, the one that it is. So I can send you everything after this call.
Because if it is still the case, then why do we need Article 14 actually?
Again, I'll send you everything, all the summary made by Harness by email. Okay.
Isabel, I can share with you that I asked the same question, and Juan has been nice enough to put me through with Arne themselves, and the reply was basically the AIG is run by both the Article of Association and the Private Placement Memorandum since March 12, and that's a very strange animal that I never see before. That we have both bylaws. We are both a PPM and a bylaws and Article of Association.
So quite uncomfortable, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
That's it's unique. It's the only one on earth. That's why we love it.
You were going to say something, Jerome, and I interrupted you, so sorry.
No, it's okay.
No, before the vote. You were saying before the vote.
No, I was saying that according to Article 131G, from my perspective, any change of Article of Memorandum requires the written approval of every significant shareholders that has never been asked and never been given.
Okay.
So Juan told me that Ryan is opposing the Article 12, so there are contradictions between the article in the bylaws, but at the end of the day, at least we must be sure that any modification does not change the right of the shareholders, which has definitely not been provided by this Article 14.
Okay.
Last thing about this private fund resolution, will it be necessary to have other amendments in the future in order to comply with BVI regulation, or only this resolution is enough to comply?
No, this is the only amendment to the M&A that would be needed for that regard. Okay. Any other document or any other filing that would need to be made would be passed by a resolution of the directors of the company.
There are a lot of conditions to be a private fund or a private investment fund. One of them being that you cannot have more than 50 investors when AIG has already about 300 shareholders. So
that is not the case according to what Harness told us. So again, I can send all of you all the information we received from Harness in this regard, okay?
I will happy to receive it too, and maybe Matthias, you too.
Yes.
Because for me, a fund is somewhere where someone can come in and out. It has nothing to do with the company with shares. So, but I heard what you were saying, Juan. This is and will remain a commercial company with shares.
Exactly.
Whether inside, whether cosmetically or for whatever reason it could be named as fund, it doesn't change the structure of shares, commercial. I mean, what we know. Okay.
The two concepts are irrespective from each other, but again, I'll send you everything as soon as this call is, okay?
Okay.
Okay, I declare the motion carried, and the memorandum and articles of the company shall be amended according to the proposal presented to shareholders.
Could we have the result, please?
Sure. The voting results on the to amend the memorandum is 74.34% in favor, 25.67% of votes against.
Okay. The next item of business is the liquidation of the company and the distribution of the proceeds with the shareholders. This special resolution must be passed by no less than 2/3 of the votes cast at the meeting. I will now put a motion to the meeting to pass a resolution for the liquidation of the company and the distribution of the proceeds with the shareholders. Those in favor? Opposed? I declare the motion has been rejected and that there will be no liquidation of the assets of the company.
Could we have the result, please?
We have received 20.23% of votes in favor, 79.77% of votes against this resolution.
The next item of business is to make all necessary steps to complete a going public transaction within...
Sorry,
Yes, Carlos, yes.
because this is the opportunity to
Okay.
say or try to understand.
Okay.
And so I can say that I voted against. So I'm happy that most of the people in this company thought the same way I did. But I cannot avoid asking myself, what were we talking about? Again, this is what I said from the very beginning. Who had the idea to include a point that was named to liquidate the assets? I mean, shouldn't we reply to this? I mean, is it normal that from time to time appears one subject that everybody knows very well what it is, and that we will not dig a little bit further just because, as it was removed, we don't mind? I mind that in a company where I'm a shareholder, all of a sudden appears something that is to liquidate the assets. What assets? What liquidate? I mean, it doesn't mean to sell a property, because we have been selling properties, and because there is an article, I don't know if it's 31 or whatever, that says that the company can sell his assets. But here, apparently, it's not a matter of selling assets, it's a matter of liquidating. Who had this idea? Well, where is the interest of the company? Right? It's so, I'm sincere, I'm not playing. It's how can it be that this has been registered as one of the points that should be voted? Someone has to say, someone put this in the list, and I would like that person explains to me what did he mean and why did he have thought it was a good opportunity to put it on the vote.
Okay, Carlos, I will give you my opinion. That might sound surprising to you because you don't receive phone calls from shareholders very upset. Okay, sell everything and give me my money back. If you would have been in that position, then it wouldn't be that surprising at all. Many shareholders in the past, very, very mad, have proposed that. Of course, I would never like that proposal to be approved, because that would imply that all of us would lose our jobs. So it will go against my interests. But let me tell you, this is not surprising at all. What I'm not sure about is if this has been voted in previous general meetings. In order to answer you, if this would be an all of the sudden thing, of this has been put into consideration in the past, But let me tell you, Carlos, this is not surprising, considering that some shareholders have proposed this in a very angry way in the past.
Okay, let's celebrate that there has not been a decision to liquidate the company.
Yes. Yes.
I'm happy with it.
Me too.
Okay.
Okay, so the next item of business is to make all necessary steps to complete a going public transaction within the next 12 months. This ordinary resolution must be passed by a majority of the votes cast at the meeting. I will put a motion to the meeting to pass the resolution, the approval to make all the necessary steps to complete a going public transaction within the next 12 months. Those in favor? Opposed? I declare the motion has been rejected and that no going public transaction will be sought within the next 12 months.
Okay, the numbers?
We have received 20.49% of votes in favor, 79.51% of votes against.
I don't have any comment. Jérôme, you're muted.
Yes, just a quick word about this. From my understanding of the articles, this kind of resolution would have needed 66%, two-thirds of approval to be passed, and not only the simple majority.
Okay.
Do you agree, one or not?
I'm sorry, Jerome, could you repeat it?
Yeah, I said the resolution number 7, asking for an IPO. From my understanding of the article 80 and the 128, this kind of resolution would have needed 67% of approval and not the single majority Jose mentioned initially.
This actual topic has been treated in the past in General Assemblies, from what I see in the records, and the general, in I think it was in 2 cases, the resolution was an ordinary resolution. I'm not sure the interpretation you are making, but again, given that this is a point that hasn't been passed, I think in any case we can discuss after the meeting, okay?
Okay.
The next item of business is to implement a spin-off strategy with company subsidiaries to its shareholders. This ordinary resolution must be passed by a majority of the votes cast at the meeting. I will now put a motion to the meeting to approve an implementation of a spin-off strategy with company subsidiaries to its shareholders. Those in favor? Opposed?
We comment after?
Yes,
comment
yes,
after?
yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just it's very vaguely mentioned, the spin-off strategy. I don't really understand what is at stake here. What is the applicable subsidiary? I understand there is one subsidiary mentioned in the resolution, but I don't understand why it is not clearly identified. So it's how, as the company has many subsidiaries, you can imagine that the spin-off can be with all the subsidiaries, but if we can be more specific, because unless it's very complicated to vote, and as the vote has already been done, it's always the same thing. I don't understand how other shareholders can vote this resolution without this kind of basic information.
Okay, I can explain to you, Matias, with an example. For example, a shareholder owning 1% of AIG Corp's shares would own 1% of the land holding company, which is AIG Corp, without Granosur Holding Limited, and 1% of the trading company, which is Granosur Holding Limited.
Both BVIs.
Exactly.
But okay, I understand this, but why are you talking about Granosur? Because it's the only subsidiary of AIG, BVI?
Yeah, Granosur is a BVI company, and AIG is another BVI company. And yes, both of them are BVIs. So one is the trading company, and the other one would be like the land holding company.
Okay, so when it says trading company, it directly refers to Granosur.
Granosur Holding, exactly.
Ah, okay.
when you say
I think it would have been simplest to just mention Granosur BVI company instead of trading company, which is more vague.
Yeah, I take note of that. I take note of that. I take note.
And again, what is the strategy of separating the two companies? Because as far as remember, and I looked in the past,
Yes.
the move of buying Granosur was to extend the activities of AIG in order to have more aggregate value on the business of the company. So now we are separating the two companies, which I may presume that the value of Granosur will be very little after the spin-off. So I don't see where it is in the best interest of the company of splitting the two BVIs.
Okay, what I can tell you, Matthias, that this is not new for the company. I have discussed this with Carlos and maybe Jerome. This was presented in a number of board meetings since, if I don't recall wrong, since 2017. It has been discussed. And the objective was to I remember perfectly, it was like aiming at giving a targeted exposure for the shareholders. For example, some may choose to have a land holding vehicle, focus on those long-term investors, and for example, some of the shareholders would prefer more into cash flow and a deeper exposure towards commercial activities. But that was the objective. That was always the objective of this, is to give a targeted exposure to the shareholders. That was always the target of this proposal. And it's dated back from 2017. This has been under consideration.
Okay. And what is the expectation of on the price of Granosur in that spin-off strategy? Don't you agree that the price and the value of Granosur will go down after the spin-off? Because as far as I remember, Granosur main client was AIG.
That to be honest with you, Matthias, 100%. It wouldn't be professional on my side if I give you, okay, if this happens, the value of Granosur will go down significantly or go up. I think that we would need to assess the implications of performing the spin-off. I can totally defend the trading business of this company, totally defend it, especially considering what is happening with commodity prices, with the evolution with Granosur and our trading business. I'm not trying to sell you anything here, but I'm way more, if it wasn't for the COVID situation, I'm way more optimistic on this harvest season compared to the previous one. I think it will be way better for the company. So given what is happening with the trading business, with commodity prices here in Uruguay, it wouldn't be professional for me to tell you, oh, things are not looking good for Granosur. I will go in the opposite way. In order to give you a professional answer about the future, we would need to assess what will happen with the future of both companies. But my intuition is, due to recent commodity prices, I expect good things for the company. Otherwise, I wouldn't be working here.
Okay. But just to add last thing, the company that I represent vote against this resolution, and not again because she doesn't trust that the outcome could be better than the situation today, but because of the lack of information. Again, without any details, without the minimum details that you just gave us, of course, we are unable to vote that kind of resolution. So that's a pity, but that's how it is.
And believe me, I already talked to Carlos several times about this, and I'm sure that Juan also here will totally take note of what you are saying. Totally take note. Honestly, totally take note of what you're saying.
Okay.
I declare the motion carried, and a spin-off strategy with company subsidiaries to its shareholders shall be implemented. Jerome, you are muted.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were about to talk. Okay.
Numbers?
Yes. I would like the figures. Go ahead for the figures, and then I'll get back with my comment.
Okay.
I'm the voting here. Okay. The numbers, the percentage voting in favor is 74.03%. Percentage voted against the resolution was 25.97%.
Okay. This resolution falls into the Article 131D, where the written approval of every significant shareholder is required. Any merger, consolidation, reorganization of any other combination involving the company and its subsidiary. So how are you going to manage that?
I think, sorry, Jose, to interject if you were going to speak, but as Jose said, they now need to, as management, make a plan in order to implement such a spin-off. And I think in any case, that would be the plan that would be needed to be arranged with significant shareholders. Now that there's a mandate from the shareholders in order to implement such a thing, the proper way to advance would be, in that regard, preparing the plan itself.
Absolutely, Jerome. Believe me that now that we have this, we'll work on how to design this program, how we will implement this, and of course you have all the open channels with me regarding this, and we'll work and we'll see how this is going to be complied, but we'll do it professionally.
Okay, but you confirm, quotes on minutes, that at the end of the day, that will require the written approval of every significant shareholder.
Somebody's talking. Somebody's talking?
I think, Isabel, the noise is coming from your background.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question, but I was first expecting an answer maybe to Jerome's question. Maybe you got it? Okay. So no, my comment was only that, again, I really have the feeling we are doing the wrong way around. I mean, we are voting for resolutions. We don't know what the company is going to do with it, and what your answer is, okay, once it's voted, we'll see how we implement it and what the company will do and will manage these resolutions. It's very strange. I mean, in any other company I know about, it's the other way around. I mean, the management or the board of directors are presenting a strategy, recommending to conduct such or such action, I don't know, going public, doing a spin-off, whatever, and then the shareholders are voting for or against resolutions that are proposed to implement that strategy. But here we don't know anything about any strategy. We are just voting for resolutions, and then your answer is, okay, we'll do afterwards, once it's voted, what we are going to do with it. That's really strange. I mean, am I the only one to have this feeling?
I take note of your comment. I take note of your comment.
So maybe a suggestion would be that next year, for the next annual meeting of shareholders, we might have a presentation by, I don't know if it's the management of the company or the board of directors or who it is, whoever it is, of the maybe 3-year plan strategy of the company. And then we can have a very interesting discussion about the different options that are presented.
Okay, I totally take note on your comment.
Just go.
Sorry, Matthias, because I didn't get a response to my questions. Do you confirm that my comment will be mentioned, my quote will be mentioned in the minutes, that this resolution will be after submitted to the written approval of every significant shareholder?
My apologies, I was on mute. I think, yeah, obviously your comments will be in the minutes. We'll have to obviously assess not the resolution, but in any case, the plan would be the one that would need it to be thought to the shareholders.
And Ran, as the legal advisor of the company, you confirm that the 131D apply in this case?
I have to check, to be honest. I couldn't say again, it's not something that it is to be discussed here. I'll reach you by email and with any assessment that I make of that.
Yeah, but once again, there is a procedure. I mean, why do we have to, us as shareholders, think of a spin-off strategy before the strategy comes up, Isabelle? And on top of that, doing all this effort, trying to understand, when in fact you still did not consult a significant shareholder that could say no. And then all what we did disappears. It's a little bit strange. I agree with Isabelle. What do we need to do it this way? Can't we do it what would be called normally or expectable?
I think, again, as Jose said, those comments are obviously properly noted, and in any General Assembly going forward, I think, as Isabel said, the idea would be to give more detail on any proposal to be made to the shareholders.
And I want to add another general comment about all this, because I was looking in the M&A, because I thought I'd seen something about this, and now I found it. It's the Article 39B2, which says that every notice of a meeting of shareholders shall give sufficient detail on each resolution that are proposed to shareholders in order that they can form a reasoned judgment on this resolution. And I really think this is not the case of any of the resolutions about the spin-off, the liquidation of the assets, the going public, and everything. So yes, just to say that, because again, it's a pity, because the company I represent both know again because of the lack of detail. So I think it's not good for the company, and even I'm just wondering if it's not in breach with the memorandum and articles of the company.
Laurent, if I may say, I think it wouldn't be bad that you, as you are present in this meeting that you give your opinion about this, because I think, and you, Jérôme, I mean, it's somehow, we would like to have a board that doesn't go there, no? We would like to that explains the shareholders.
Juan and Jose knows that I have been asking for information about the subsidiary, Casarol, Grano Sur, all this kind of figure to see where the valuation comes from for many months. We had a lot of email exchange about that, but unfortunately, I've not been able to gather any information about that, and which is very weird from my perspective.
Any information about Grano Sur? I have sent you several emails with a lot of information, Jérôme. You cannot say that. I sent you, I can resend them to you, several information of the company's operations, numbers, volumes.
That's probably not the place to discuss that, but you remember.
But you're saying something that is not right. How can that be the place?
Okay, Jose, hold on. You told me you got all the information into the hub, and I show you.
No, I didn't tell you that. I tell you that all the information that I had was there, but I didn't tell you that.
The folders with regard to all the subsidiaries are empty. There is no documentation, no SPA, no valuation, no financial statement. There is nothing. The folders are empty.
You're telling me something that you already told me. I think this is not the place to discuss about this.
The last comment about this resolution, you said in introduction that it requires a simple majority of 51%. Obviously, with 74%, it's not a debate. But I want to point out in the meeting that this kind of resolution about according to the Article 80 and 128, requires a special majority of 66% plus. Please quote it. We will have a discussion about it.
We are referring to spin-off, Jérôme.
Yes.
When you say special, it concerns the spin-off.
Yes. You can see Regulation 80 and 128. It's a special resolution, 2/3 majority, and not single one, as José said in introduction.
Okay, I address myself to the board, Jérôme, but also Laurent. I mean, if you can tell us something about this, now that you're starting a new period, according, if these votes are not being changed by what Alex put on the table. But Laurent, is there something you could say about what I would characterize as very poor, very lack of way of inviting the shareholders to participate in the company?
At this moment, we just need to make sure that there's clear communication across all channels, and in regards to anything specific, in regards to articles and such, Juan is ideally placed to discuss these. And in regards to the strategy, I'm going to default to management as to how they want to move forward.
Obviously, if the resolution got 74%, it means that at Advantex you vote for. Would you explain us why you did so?
What?
If the resolution gets 74% of for, positive answer, it means that Advantex, that Laurent is representing, vote for the resolution. At least he could explain us why. What are the rationale according to him? Why is it a good thing for the company?
Sorry, I was on mute. In regards to the rationale, I'm going to leave it on our own. I think we'll all make our own decisions based on the information that we have. And to move forward, we just need to make sure that we continue to keep these lines of communication open. And if we have any questions, we can always ask Jose and Juan.
Okay, so basically you don't know why you vote for.
No, I don't think it's necessarily a forum for me to discuss as to why I chose one versus another.
Okay, so you don't want to explain us, as a director, why that could be in the best interest of the company?
The vote was cast under the Advantix, not as a board member.
Sure, but we are discussing. It's a free speech, you know.
I understand.
You have your opinion. You can share it with us. We are curious to learn and to know more about that.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I do believe that this is completely out of the, I mean, again, it's out of the agenda, out of everything, and I do understand the back and forth, but I do think that in any case, what we're doing right now is mostly wasting time for everyone.
That's a very specific
We are
way
not out of the agenda. We are in the middle of the agenda. What I'm saying is that what you call an agenda could be challenged, and maybe it will not stand the name of agenda. So I think it's serious. I'm saying that this, what you are calling an agenda, could be considered as a non-agenda. And
Okay. I think personal consideration of what constitutes an agenda or not shouldn't be discussed. I think
an
okay.
agenda.
Okay.
If I could have elaborated an agenda, and someone would tell me that this is not an agenda, at least I would try to explain why it is an agenda. I think we deserve this. I mean, is it possible for me to ask, why do you call this an agenda?
Because that's exactly the name the M&A and the VVI regulations consider these points to be discussed at the meeting as an agenda. And again, I'm not trying to make an argument on what constitutes an agenda or not. I'm just trying to tell you that the points to be discussed that are considered the agenda of a meeting are the ones that were put in the notes and in the circular. And again, any personal consideration of any definition of any word we can discuss out of this forum and in any event by email or by phone, I have no problem with that. But I do believe that at this stage, this is something that it's completely unnecessary and out of the scope of what is trying to being done here.
I understand what you say. I would like to have this recorded and be part of the minutes as being considered as it shouldn't be part of the minutes. I consider that it should be part of the minutes. So, okay, just leave it as it is. And my question is open. If someone dares or would like to reply to it, I'm ready to reply in whatever context. If this is not the one, I invite you to whatever other context you consider appropriate.
No.
That's it.
Okay. Regarding new business to bring before this meeting, no new business was properly brought before the meeting. As there is no further business to be brought before the meeting, I declare the meeting concluded and terminated. So thank you very much for your time, and
Thank you, Jose. Thank you.
thank you, Jerome.
Thank you,
Bye bye.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Could we know how we are going to get the minutes of this?
Yes.
Yes,
They'll
absolutely.
need to be transcribed, and there would be the TSX results attached, which all the percentages. So, okay, we'll send it when we have them, okay?
Okay. I forgot to ask some modification. Since a lot of shareholders do not get the mail from TSX, even myself, I never received anything. Could we say that instead of sending mail, TSX send emails? So they request our emails, and we communicate, and they provide us the communication by emails.
One of
More or less one of the modifications.
Yeah.
Exactly. One of the modifications proposed to the bylaws was for TSX to be able to send an email blast to all shareholders with this same documentation, basically. And again, I think Jose said that previously, but the idea with this is not only to reduce corporate costs that again are not efficient, as you said, because some shareholders get delays in mail, etc. I know with COVID it's especially difficult, but I think electronic means would simplify this process a lot, and I think that is also one of the reasons. And again, it's not trying to make a case for anything here or there, but those periods can be shortened if everyone were to receive an email. Again, the thing about that receiving an email blast is that as it happens now with the registered address for each shareholder, because TSX sends the mail to the registered address in the shareholder registry, okay? And only the shareholder can instruct, okay, what is that address. In that same regard, we would need for each shareholder to provide their email so we have the correct and updated email so they can receive the correct email when we send whatever information is required for this or any other assembly, okay? Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
Thank you.
Bye, Sharon. Bye, Isabel. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.